Hi guys, welcome to the video. Today we are doing a pretty big build. It's a family house. I guess technically, like, if we're talking in little Simsy terms, it's a blue Suburban. But it's just a big family house with, I want to say it has 5 bedrooms in total and 5 bathrooms. So it's a pretty large one, and it also is a residential rental because underneath it has like a basement apartment for a whole other sim, which at some point pretty soon I probably will be making the sims that actually live in this house, because I want to make a full save file with a bunch of different sims in it and fill up the worlds. This house specifically, before we get into it, it does have, I want to say the family is 2 dads, and then there's twin girls, a baby son, and then grandma also lives here. So I haven't made them yet, but that's the vibes I was going for with this house. So anyways, let's get right into the build. So if I'm being completely honest, this one was a whole struggle bus. Like, I was struggling so hard. I had a vision of what I wanted to do. I wanted like this big chunk. You can see where I put the garage door at first. I really wanted the garage to be there and then there'd be like a trail leading down. But I guess that would be better suited for like no foundation, which I don't do super often. I know the cottage build that I just did had no foundation, but on like family houses I don't do super well with that. But maybe I'll try building the one that I was thinking of originally again, but this one just didn't turn out to be like that. But I knew I did want to make a really like big house, which this one definitely turns out to be that. I want to say I built this house over either 3 or 4 days total, which I know a lot of people can build a lot faster than that, but I definitely am not the fastest builder. But I think it did turn out pretty cute. I think there's probably things that could be improved on it. And then at this point I was adding in that basement. I made it a little like walkout basement. But I did end up putting like, these are just some random fences so that I have something there. They do end up being changed out for just like a basic one. But I was really trying over here with the porch, trying to keep it so that the garage could be right there. And I think what I did that messed it up, like, it definitely was the fact that the foundation was there, but I think like I was trying to do terrain manipulation and it wasn't working because the stairs were right there and it would like bump it up everywhere except for around the stairs, which I didn't really know that, because I'm really not good with terrain manipulation. So I just ended up putting the garage on the end here, and then I used like a roof piece to kind of make it look like a driveway. It is a little bit off on like the coloring, because they of course don't have matching swatches for anything. But you'll also see, wow, yeah, I can't talk. You'll also see that I put this car here for now. I end up getting rid of it, as I do with so many other things on this build that you'll see. Like the rounded porch in the back, that one I end up making square. The little like flower box that's over there, I end up just like shortening it. But I thought it would be cute to have the car there, and then you'll see in a little bit I ended up making it into like a garage, which if you saw it, I posted that one like separately on my TikTok, and as a short on here, I think. But the car ends up going like inside the garage, so I didn't want it out on the driveway. It also just like clipped with the driveway, so I didn't really want it there. At this point, I ended up putting in the little chimney, and I wanted to have a stone chimney with the blue wallpaper, which I know like everything is always blue, but it really is the best swatches in the games, or game, I don't know, I can't talk, my brain's not working. If I'm being completely honest, I have Diet Pepsi, but the Ben Platt version stuck in my head, and it's all that is bouncing around my brain. And I also just filmed 2 other videos before this one, before I go into work today, so my brain is just a little bit of mush, as well as this one being really long. Let's see, at this point I was adding in the windows, and I think you saw I was using the like flat ones that matched the front door that was just there first, and it just wasn't really looking how I wanted it to. I think it possibly could have, if I had like put the window boxes in. I think it might have worked with those specific windows, but I just switched it out for the base game ones because then there would be shutters as well, and I could use the bay window on that front one, which I really wanted to. And then at this point, I think I started doing the floor plan. As you can see, I threw in a bunch of bedrooms. I think all but the nursery upstairs has an ensuite bathroom. And then the like grandma's bedroom is down on the bottom floor. Right now, it doesn't have an ensuite bathroom, but it does end up getting one. But the top floor, I kind of just broke it up, and then was throwing some lights down so that I could see what I was doing, and then threw in my doors so that I knew kind of the general layout of everything. Where I put that archway, I wanted that to be a closet, and I was going to do like a full like walk-in closet sort of thing, but I ended up just putting like an actual, like one of the closets in there, so I take out the archway at some point. But then I just moved to the outside, and I was doing some like pathing and the fence for the backyard so that you could see like where it was going. And then I moved and did the little spot outside of the basement apartment. I honestly think this part turned out kind of really cute. Honestly, a lot cuter than the actual apartment itself. But I think that's like the last thing in this video. So we'll get there. But I really wanted to use the treehouse somewhere, but it's so big, and this lot is also really big. But I was just trying to fill in some of the area because I wanted the driveway to be up like right where it is. The rest of the house had to be kind of centered, which means that right side of the lot is a little like empty, but I ended up putting the treehouse over there. It'll move a little bit closer at some point. But then I just went in and was doing the backyard, throwing some stuff in there. I wanted to add a pool. I was trying to figure out what pool trim to use. I ended up using one of the ones from the, I don't remember what that kit's called. Is it the Riviera Retreat kit? Possibly. I don't really know. But I thought it was just like a nice simple little pool trim. And then I tried to use like a floaty in the pool, but it just wasn't working out, and I didn't really like how it looked. Also, if you hear any sort of like beeping or anything, I am sitting in the parking lot of my work recording this because I have to record it in my car, which also, apologies if the audio sounds bad. I live in a very hot place and it's like 85 degrees. So if I don't keep my car on with the AC going, I will absolutely roast. So there's a little bit of like humming in the background. That's just my car, so I apologize for that. And if you hear any beeping or noises or whatever, it's just cars driving around since it's in the parking lot. But at this point, I'm still doing the backyard, but because it's like a family house, I wanted to throw some toys in there and the little like hopscotch thing. I ended up putting those towels there, but I think at some point I scooted over, and I really wanted a swing set over there. I do end up going and putting one down, the little one with like the lights on it, because it's so cute, and I will do anything for fairy lights. I wanted to try and do like I don't know if you could count this as a pergola, but just like the little like lattice top, but because it was rounded, it didn't want to work for me, so I just switched it out and ended up doing a square one, and then put the little lattice sort of like crosshatch stuff up there. And then I put a little like picnic table with the picnic basket, and I know it's in their own backyard, so it's a little weird to have a picnic basket, but I thought it would be cute. And these, I found the like toddler string lights, and if I am being completely honest, I changed the deck just so I could have those string lights, because I really wanted the vibes of the string lights, but it had to be just a little bit wider, because they're pretty long. Like the lights themselves are pretty long, but I did end up doing the like lattice stuff as well. I kind of went back and forth on what shape to do it, but I think it ended up coming out pretty well. I know, like, if you look at it, the lights hang kind of low, but I did test it with a sim, and they do walk under the lights. They're not like too low. But then I just threw a couple more things on the deck itself. I wanted to have a grill, which I know having a grill right there probably is not the best plan, because it might catch the house on fire, but you know, who doesn't love a little chaos in their game? But yeah, as you can see, I ended up taking out one of the towels that was over there to add in the little slide. And now that I'm thinking about it, the slide and the hopscotch, there's not actively a child here right now, so it's a little redundant. But at some point, like, because it's built, it has a nursery, or I guess will have a nursery. The kid will grow up at some point, and then can use the little like slide and the hopscotch and everything. But at this point, I started doing the landscaping, and you'll see, actually I don't think you'll see it, but at some point I went through and I did like all of the landscaping in the front, and then realized I wasn't recording, and I had to stop, and I came back like 2 days later to do it, because I was like, I really liked how the landscaping turned out, and I wanted it to look like that, but I could not bring myself to redo it right in that moment. So I had to come back to it, and but I did end up filling in the front little areas. I definitely take a lot of my inspiration on how to landscape and build in general from watching Lil Simsy videos. So these little like low-lying pale flowers, those go everywhere, and then I kind of just throw in some bushes, and then go from there, and add like different flowers to add in some color. And a lot of the landscaping, I ended up just using these like blue and orange ones, which I thought were really cute, and then the white ones, which I don't know how I didn't realize that. now that I'm doing this or watching it back, the blue, orange, and white was my high school colors. I did that very unintentionally. But either way, I still think it looks cute. And then this whole like pathing and adding in those trees is where I had to redo it because I wasn't recording. Like I placed all of these little plants and everything, and then got to the end and was like, oh my god, I didn't record a single thing of that, and had to undo it all so that I could redo it. But I think it still turned out pretty cute. And I added in just some like extra bushes and some extra flowers. I was really just trying to fill in the lot because I probably could have stood to use a little bit smaller of a lot. But I also think that everything kind of fits well on here. It's really just the right side that's a little bit bare. But I still think it looks okay. But as you can see, I was just throwing down some more flowers. And then we get to, I don't know what we do next. I added in a couple more windows to the back. And threw in the flower boxes. Just to add a little bit more dimension and some decoration. I threw in some windows down to the bottom, which that ends up being the living room, and you can see, like, I put the AC unit on the wall, but once I get into doing the living room, there's a way for me to cover it up, so you can't actually see it on the inside. I don't really know if that's the best way to do it, but I like the way it looked on the outside. So honestly, I would love if maybe it's already in like debug or something and I just haven't seen it, but I would absolutely love if they would add like a full floor like AC unit, like the big boxes that you see in like backyards and everything. That would be so cute. And then I know we've already moved past it, now I'm doing terrain paint, but I did add the 3 different trash cans. I know in The Sims you technically don't need 3, you just need the 1. But I thought it made it look a little more realistic, because at least where I'm from, in like suburban areas, whatever, there's the 3 trash cans. The black one is trash, the blue is recycle, and then the green is for like the eco waste, I think is what they call it, for like when your gardeners come and they've got a bunch of plants and things, they'll put that in that trash can. But now that the landscaping is done, then we move into the inside. I started with the garage, and if you've seen my TikTok and my Instagram, I did post like just the speed build of this one because I did like how it turned out. I kind of just cluttered it up and made it into a little like workshop area. I think it would be cute if one of the dads is like a woodworker or just like the handyman of the house. And then I wanted to put in just some like clutter so it looked like an old garage. And I didn't end up leaving it there, but that little like stand fan, I'm kind of sad that I forgot about it. Like, I saw it when I was building the garage, and I made a mental note to put it in one of the other rooms, and then I did not put it in there, but I thought it was really cute. I didn't realize it came in that kit, but as someone who lives somewhere hot and definitely has a ton of fans in their room, an apartment, I thought it was really cute having like the full fan. And then for that one, I just added like some little lights and stuff. And then I moved in and I made a little like mud room because I had just recently gotten the mud room kit and I wanted to work with that. It's just kind of basic and just a little place to like throw the mail down and throw your keys and your jacket and stuff like that. But I think it's cute too. And then it's got the little like rain boots and things too, which I thought was adorable. I threw some like shoes down. And the flooring was a little difficult for me. I was trying to figure out what I wanted to put places, and it just wasn't necessarily working. I thought I was gonna do wood, but then I was like, no, if it's a mud room, I'd rather have some sort of like tile. But I think I just ended up going with like the linoleum. So it looks, I don't really know what the difference is between tile and linoleum, if I'm being completely honest, but at least in the house that I used to live in, when you walked in the door, there was this little like tile area, and it looked like the way that linoleum floor looks, so it kind of just works in my brain. And then at this point I went through, and as I always do, I was just throwing down furniture to figure out the layout of everything. The kitchen turned out being a lot bigger than I thought it was going to, and I definitely meant to go back and add like another window or two to the back of the kitchen, but I didn't, because a lot of times, like when I'm building, I'll say that I'm gonna go back and do something, and then by the time I get to the point of going back and doing it, I've already forgotten that I wanted to do that. But this little like stairway, honestly, it might be a little stupid, but I'm kind of proud of myself for it, because that's the first time I've ever figured out how to get rid of the like floor on the second floor so that it's completely open all the way through. I've seen a ton of people do it, but I never really knew how to do it, and it never worked for me. And then I realized that you just have to make sure that you put the fence like over the stairs as well, because then it'll block it off into a room. If you don't do that, it thinks the whole thing is the room. But if you block off like the stairs themselves, then it will just take the little bit of floor that you want it to, which is very useful to know. But then I moved back downstairs and I threw in the like actual kitchen stuff that I wanted, and the cabinets and everything. And then I tried to do the dining table, which at the beginning of this, I thought it was going to be an 8-sim household, because I was going to have a grandpa too, and then I think I was going to have bunk beds in one of the kids' rooms to add like space for another one. But when I was doing the grandma's little room, the way that the bed laid out, it didn't really work to have it where you could get in from both sides, and I thought it would be cute if it was like just grandma. And then the one that was gonna have bunk beds, I just didn't really like it, and I wanted to do like the twins, but I wanted the stereotypical one is more like emo and one's more bubbly or some stuff like that. So they just each got their own individual room, and then the nursery. But this kitchen I cluttered up so much. I think it should still be functional. I didn't test it, but the counter that is on the island, like if you're looking at the stove, it's the counter that's the like closest to you right corner on the island. I believe that one is still functional to cook on, because it's one of the like end pieces, so it has the counter on the side as well. And I think your sim should be able to cook on there. If not, if you just like move the cutting board onto that counter, your sims would be able to cook on the counter that the cutting board is on right now. Then I don't know if you saw it, but the little paper towel like wall thing that I did, I saw that on TikTok a little while ago, and it is so cute. It works so well. I ended up having to put 2 shelves there to cover up like all of the hardware on the toilet paper, but I don't really think that's a bad thing. I still think it looks pretty cute. And I was trying desperately to figure out what wallpaper to use in here. I ended up going with the, I think this one's the Home Chef Hustle one. And as The Sims does, it was giving me some sort of glitch as I was trying to do the wallpaper after I put in those spandrels, which I took out. As I was putting the wallpaper in, it deleted like half of the clutter that I had in the kitchen for some reason. So I had to go back and add all of that in, but it wasn't too bad. And then I ended up using the Businesses and Hobbies like wood floor, because that wood floor is so nice. It is one of my absolute favorites. And then this is where I had like the fireplace that was covering the little AC unit, which I end up changing around, but it still covers it pretty well. And I personally have never used it, but this little like Parenthood curfew board whatever thing, I wanted to put that one in there because I thought it would be cute, especially since you have or well, I guess how I'm gonna make The Sims, there would be 2 teens in here, so it would be cute to have like the curfew. And then this is how I changed the fireplace. I ended up putting the, I think it's a university fireplace, so that it was, I wanted like the, I don't know, I don't love houses, at least like family houses, where everything matches perfectly. I wanted it to be kind of mismatched and not perfect. So I thought it would be cute, like since maybe the kitchen got renovated and that's why the cabinets look really fancy over there, but then the living room hasn't, so it has this really old fireplace in it. And then I wanted to go for the classic, like, because you have so many Sims in the house, or I guess in real life when you have a bunch of people in your house, you're most likely going to go for like a sectional sofa. So I went ahead and I put that in there, and then I used the like panel wallpaper in here to give it that kind of like older, it hasn't been renovated vibe, as well as with that like end table that's right there. It just gives it a little bit more of like a vintage feel, and with the rug. But then I put in the little like brick flooring hearth like rug, so that it just had a little bit extra there. And then it might be a little weird, but I ended up putting some like toys in the bottom as well, like in the living room. I put the little like infant tummy time play pen thing, I don't know what it's called, and then like a dollhouse and some extra little toys, because I figured if you have 2 teens and a baby and a bunch of Sims running around, like, it's not going to be perfect. You're going to have toys. It's like, it's not going to be a pristine living room. I wanted it to look a little bit more lived in, especially like since it is for a save file that I'm making. I didn't want everything to look so like stark and perfect and like nobody has been here. I want it to look like people are actually like using the houses that they're in. And then on the coffee table in the living room, I put the little like the open book from the Comfy Gamer kit, and that book goes everywhere in this freaking house. I think I used it 3 times, but I love that book so much. Having it be open, thought it was really cute. And then I threw in some light switches, which I think I cut out most of them, but I did end up putting light switches like everywhere. And then as I was scrolling through, a lot of times when I'm building, like, I'm scrolling through and I'll find something and then I'll jump over to like where I want that item to be, realize, oh my god, that would look so cute over in the little like basement area. So I put the little house number there, and then realized that I didn't have anything on the porch, so I worked over there, and then I went back inside. I am very like bouncy when I build. I don't really go room by room, like I do in a sense, but I do also just like go, like if I find an item, I'm gonna go back to where I think it should be and kind of bounce around. But for the most part, I'll stay in the room that I'm trying to finish. Sometimes I'm a little extra bouncy. But now we move into the grandma's room, which honestly, I think this room turned out so cute. The way that I have it right now is not exactly how it's gonna stay, because I end up, as I'm doing the bathroom, I realized that it would make more sense to have like a full shower and bathtub down there as well. Honestly, like, I know it doesn't matter in The Sims, but like, you're not gonna make your grandma that lives with you walk all the way upstairs just to go take a shower. Like, no, she's gonna have her own bathroom and bathtub that she can use that's easily accessible to her. So after I have this all done, I ended up like switching it around so that I could extend out the bathroom and have that full bathtub in there. But I still kept like the vibes of the bedroom. It just gets flopped. But I still think it turned out really cute. The only spot that's a little like iffy is the rocking chair. Once I flip it, you'll see it, but it's just like, it's a little bit of a tight fit. But I really wanted the rocking chair in there because I wanted her to have the like the knitting little basket, and I thought it would be cute if she was like knitting in a little rocking chair. And I do end up giving one of the daughters the little knitting basket as well, so that it's like grandma's like teaching her how to knit, and I thought it was really cute. So I wanted to keep the rocking chair in there, even though it's a really tight little squeeze. But as you can see, I extended the bathroom so that I could put in the like the full bathtub, and then I kind of just threw some stuff in the bathroom. I really was trying to like absolutely clutter up stuff in this house, just so it looked more lived in. And honestly, because I don't usually clutter a ton in my houses, I kind of just throw stuff down and then go for it, because sometimes when I'm playing, I'm like, they don't need clutter, like they're not gonna use it, but like it makes the vibes really nice, so why not go for it? But then I ended up finding that little like broom and dustpan area or item, and I put it over with the like shopping bags next to the little like pet area, which now that I'm realizing, the pet bowls are the only thing that I put in this house for a pet. But I mean, technically that's really all you need, as long as you get like a dog. But I might go back and add like a couple little dog toys, so that when I make the family, I could add, and technically I guess since there's 2 pet bowls, I could add 2 dogs, but I don't know. We'll see once I get there. And then up at the top, I kind of threw down some rugs first to try and figure out the vibes of each of the rooms, which I know is a little weird. But I wanted like the sim that has the moon rug. They were gonna be the like darker teen, and then the one with like the pink and green rug was like the bubblier teen, and then this is the master bedroom for the two dads. And you can see there is when I put the closet in instead of like making an actual closet. This room is honestly pretty basic. It's just kind of blue is the theme. I don't know, there wasn't necessarily like a rhyme or reason for how I did this, but I just wanted it to look cute. And also, like, I am not the kind of person that goes for minimalism. I'm definitely more of a maximalist person. I don't know that I would go as far as to say I am the kind of person that would use the stuff like from the decor to the max kit like in my real life. Not quite that much, but I definitely prefer having like stuff on the walls and on like dressers and stuff like that. Like my room specifically in my actual house is like covered in stuff. I have Funko Pops, and I've got a bookshelf that has all different sorts of like fandoms that I like. I've got like a ton of Stranger Things stuff. Speaking of, I'm so excited for the new season. I know there's so many people that are upset because of how long it's taken, but like if you think about it, I think it was COVID. It was either COVID or the writer's strike that kind of shut down the production of season 4, which then gave them, I think it was 2 years in between season 3 and season 4. But season 4 was so good because they had all that extra time, and they just spent more time on it. And people are upset that they're taking the same amount of time between season 4 and season 5. But I'm over here and I'm like, that just means that season is going to be so incredibly good. And I'm so excited for it. I'm terrified to see who dies and what happens, and if they kill off certain characters. I am not prepared for it. But I'm still really excited for it. How did I even get on the tangent of Stranger Things? I have no idea. But now that we've gotten through 2 of the bathrooms, I ended up doing the little nursery next, and I definitely went a little overboard. I used the storybook nursery kit for this one and kind of just threw every item I could in there. But I do think it turned out really cute, honestly. It's a little bit of a tight squeeze in some areas, but I think it is adorable. And I know when you have like infants in The Sims, like they are not going to use this room for super long. But I think there is, actually I don't know, there might be a toddler bed for this kit as well, that you could just switch out for the crib, and then they can use it for at least a little bit longer. And then we move over into one of the teens' rooms. This one is the like darker gamer one, and I also posted this room by itself on my TikTok and Instagram. But this one I absolutely filled with clutter, and I figured that they were like a major gamer and an aspiring influencer. So at some point I end up putting the little like drone in here, so that they can use that for like live streaming. But I think I used almost every item from the Comfy Gamer kit in this room, because that was honestly really the vibes I was going for. I was going for the big desk with the PC tower, and the like full gaming setup. And I wanted the like Sims posters on the wall, because I thought they would be really into gaming. And I wanted to just throw LED lights everywhere that I could, in all sorts of different shapes and whatever. And then I kind of just cluttered up this little, I don't know what to call it besides an IKEA unit, but it's not IKEA. It looks like IKEA, but it's not. And pretty much everything that goes on that shelf ended up being green, which wasn't necessarily my intention, but I don't think it looks bad. And you can see at one point I tried to put the little like tattoo artist, like the ink and everything, because I was like, oh, it'd be cute if this sim was into tattooing, and then I was like, no, I really want them to focus on gaming. So I just left it without the tattoo stuff. And then they do also have an ensuite bathroom, so I moved into there and was trying to figure out what to do for her bathroom, and it just wasn't, it was a struggle. I went back and forth on this layout for this bathroom so many times trying to figure out what would be the best way. And don't come at me for the wallpaper and the flooring. I know it looks a little crazy, but I also think it looks really cute. I like the fact that it's so bright but also kind of dark, and it does match the flower rug that I use for the bath mat. But also, like, I was imagining it as if the parents like let the teens kind of design their rooms and their bathrooms and everything, and just kind of let them do whatever they wanted to. And I was like, okay, if this Sim's bedroom is really dark, what would their bathroom look like? I was like, okay, maybe she would want it just a little bit brighter, but also have like those funky colors and everything. So I put that in that bathroom, and then I added the telescope over on the porch, or the balcony, just for some chaos. But also I thought it would be cute and I wanted something on the balcony. And then I moved over into the other Sims bedroom, and this is the like bubbly teen daughter, and she's got more of the like pinks and greens going on. It is very like wicked coated with the colors, which I'm not mad about, which that's another thing I could go on a tangent about. I'm so excited for that movie. But I honestly really heavily debated putting that horse bed in there for a while, but then I ended up just using this one. I thought it was cute, but it just didn't, it wasn't quite the vibes. Maybe I'll try and make another house like based around that one. But I also thought that this daughter could be like the artsy one, so she got an easel out on her balcony. And then I just gave her the little like strawberry wallpaper because I thought it was really cute, and I used the same mirror in here that I did in the other one's bathroom. And then out on her balcony with the easel, I put the little like table with the best friend bracelet like set, because I thought that would be really cute. And then I just cluttered up her nightstand, and I put in this guitar, which there's not really any way to do it in here, but I thought it would be cute if she was like a Swiftie, because that definitely would be her vibes. She definitely would be like a Taylor Swift fan, so I put that guitar in there so that she could work on a guitar skill. And then there were a couple items that I found for the other daughter's room, and I wanted to put that in there. I figured, or I had the vibes that maybe they would be ace, so I put the flag in there, and then I also put in the little like sword thing from Get Famous, because it was just like some little nerdy something that I thought would be cute for her. And then I moved into the hallway, and I know the way I'm talking about this makes it sound like I'm really behind in the audio or the voiceover, but I'm just slow. And then I put in a bunch of the frames that you can put like your own family's portraits in them, because I thought it would be really cute to be able to put your own in there if you were to use this house. I might also figure out how to, like, once I make the Sims for this, I'll figure out how to put pictures of them in it. And then I think that is actually the end of this, except, oh wait, no, I lied. It's not the end. That's exactly what I did when I was building it. I stopped and I took the screenshots, and I was like, oh my god, I did it. And then I got to the bottom and was like, oh, I forgot to put an apartment down there. So I went down, and this is partially it's bad because I was just trying to do it fast, and then partially it's bad because I just suck at building. But it's just like a tiny little apartment. Once I go in and actually switch it to a residential rental, I made it cheap enough to where it is technically like a starter apartment. It's just a really tiny 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom. It's got a little area with a desk, a little like living room and kitchen with the little bar stools. I just kept it pretty simple, so that you can just have like a random little sim that lives down here. I don't know if I'm gonna make a sim to live in this one, or if it's just kind of like this family has a really big house and they have like a little apartment that they can like sublease or whatever. So I just kind of left this one blank, but put some kind of like basic furniture in it, because I didn't have someone like specifically in mind that was gonna live here. But even with it being pretty quick, I don't think it turned out horribly. But it's just a pretty standard little apartment. I did use like the fancy little like bathroom stuff. I think that one's from Growing Together, maybe. I love this bathroom set though, and the shower. But with that is the end of it. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to like and subscribe, but do not feel obligated to. I do also have a TikTok and an Instagram, both with the same handle as here, just Ken's Den with an underscore and 3 N's in den. But with that, I will see you in the next video.